Sakura Wars is a game released for Sega Saturn in 1996. It is a tactical RPG dating sim and a visual novel. It is split into two discs because of all the audio and video that is required for the game. Today I'll be talking about the English patch made by fans, and I'll be playing it. I'll be talking about the game in general, just talk about a lot of things to do with the game. Also, I feel sick today, so don't question why I have such a bad voice right now. It's because my everything's just gunked up right now, and I don't feel good at all. Sakura Wars starts with some generic cutscenes, and then you get into the actual game. It starts with the generic main character getting listed into the Imperial Assault trope. Then you talk to this woman, then enter the building. You are the captain of this troop, and you end up just punching tickets for like a show. It takes a while before you get into the actual like mech steampunky stuff, and before you get into the RPG gameplay, because the game tries convincing you it's not actually about mechs and it's actually about performing on stage, but then it truly shows its actual colors, its true colors, if you would say that. No one says that anymore. That's like a generic villain thing. You never hear that anymore. The mech gameplay is basically just a tactical RPG. It has you moving, defending, and attacking. You can only do two different types of moves per round. There are also two types of attacks. One doesn't the one is doesn't deal that much damage, but sometimes it can due to RNG. But then the other type, you have to have this meter filled up to use it, and it takes up the entire meter, but it usually one shots any enemy that gets hit by it. It's pretty good too. It is useful in some moments. You can also defend using like the defend moves. You can also heal, and then you can rest to fill up that meter by like 20, 30 points. There are some randomness elements in these RPG segments, and sometimes you also have like objectives to do. It's also, yeah, that's basically it. And a good chunk of this is still very much skill based due to, I don't know, it just really isn't as random as some RPGs are. Sometimes it's just actually quite skill based and requires some tactics and is actually pretty fun. This introduces the formula of the game, if you want to call it that. It's split into episodes where things happen. You make choices that affect the females in the game and how they feel about you. And you eventually get to go out with one of them at the end, which I can. That's determined by how much they like you, and you can check that every time there's like a save. And you get to be able to save a lot, and you can check on which ones like you the most. It's pretty interesting. The goal is to end up with one of the females, the women. See, I never touch grass, and that's why I call them the females. They introduce a few more over the course of the game, and it spices things up. It also allows you to have more people during the RPG segments, and yeah, that's pretty cool. I say it just makes it a bit too easy at times. The RPG segments have you fighting Steam-based robots, because again, this is a steampunk game. And some of these take too long, but some bosses and enemies have interesting gimmicks to spice things up. Once you beat the boss, you do a victory pose, and the next episode starts. I did a silly little thing, and I forgot to list off the girls that we can date in this game, and some other important characters. So I'll list them now. You got the character you play as, Ogami. He's generic, but that's the point. He's meant to be kind of a self-insert. Then we got Sakura, who's the girl on the cover art, and also a bit generic, but also has some personality to her. And then we got my favorite character, Maria, or I can't pronounce that, who is part Russian and has PTSD from the Russian Revolution. Then we got Sumri. I can't pronounce it. I'll just show some text on screen and hope that helps you. I cannot pronounce this. I'm too sick to pronounce this. She's the rich girl of the group, and she's purple, so I like her. And then the character she hates and then learns to like is Kana, the tomboy, and you could probably guess what that has. Then there's the nerd emoji, I can't pronounce that either. I suck at pronouncing things today. I'm sorry. She's like the scientist. She's Koran. I don't know. The auto subtitles will have a seizure when I don't fix this. I guess she's cool, but then there's Iris, who is a 10-year-old. I don't want to continue that sentence. We also have the two people in charge of this, an old drunkard guy and finger sucker. Every episode focuses on a character, and it covers things like trauma and loss. It handles comedy and drama very well. It managed to balance them. It makes it feel like an actual anime. A lot of anime tropes are in this game, and you even a lot of anime tropes, and they're not that bad compared to the previous one I covered. You can look at weird women weirdly and have some odd interactions with a 10-year-old. It also calls chapters of the game episodes, and it fits pretty well. The animations and art blew me away, and they really look high quality for a Saturn game. It's in that 90s anime style that I love. This game feels really free, and it makes me want to replay it because there are so many different options on what to say and do. Each action has a unique response, and sometimes even entire cutscenes, animations. It's just, your choices feel like they matter, and they create some really unique character interactions and character situations. This game also has a plot, like an anime. And the plot is very good. It's not anything complex, it's just defeat the evil. But it can create moments where you truly get to feel for the characters, and the plot can create character situations that are complex. You could truly get a lot out of a basic story like this. I mean, it's pretty much just modern versus old with some complex elements mixed in to make it this simple plot more complex. You truly get a lot out of this, and this game shows how you can do that very well with a simple story. It's truly well written, and the English translation made by fans is also really good at helping to aid this experience. There are fan service moments, like I said, but it truly dials it back compared to some things I've witnessed, like the previous visual novel I reviewed, which had it almost every 5 seconds. Something really interesting that they did when you get over to Disc 2 is that they concluded the first story arc on Disc 1, so when you put in Disc 2, it's a new story arc. In Disc 2, the characters get new designs for the mechs and new attacks in battle. There's a new big bad. The enemies also get new designs, but it feels almost as if it's a sequel without being a sequel. One thing that bothered me was that the mechs were just copy and pasted different colors throughout the entire game, which was okay for me, but for colorblind people or people with force monitors, that would suck. That would suck so much. In like planning and tactics, that would just really ruin it. I know it was probably for budget issues, but they probably could have afforded the change to slightly change each mech design. If they hadn't made these new models and animations for the mechs in Disc 2, I know it's a quality of life thing, but it's still like rarely necessary. It's like if you ever heard of She-Ra, if you had a black and white TV back then, every character had the same character model, so it pretty much sucked for anyone watching with a black and white television. Same thing with Transformers. It just really sucks when they do that. I prefer having a better overall experience than having just a momentary gain in happiness when you see the new mech designs. But honestly, the new mech designs get old pretty fast, and it just becomes, oh look, new mech. Oh wow. The new mechs don't really change much, and it doesn't feel that earned. The characters do training, but it's played off as a joke, and it doesn't land that well. This also goes into the battles, and nothing really changes with them because you got stronger along with the enemies, so it ultimately means nothing. But that's a minor thing. I haven't even talked about the main antagonist. This video is kind of a mess. Disc 1 has this old guy as the antagonist, and the plot is modern versus traditional, so it actually makes sense. He feels like a joke at times, but he then becomes really threatening and makes you actually fear for the characters. And then, yeah. I like the protagonist Disc 2 more because he's just straight up Satan. Like, not even joking, he's straight up Satan. I don't want to spoil the ending, but yeah, he's just another antagonist who's more menacing and is kind of hot in a weird way. The ending is also really good because I loved just the final two episodes, despite the issues with the story. It was actually really good. The plot makes you care about the characters, and you get to be with the anime girl you like, as I mentioned, which is really good because it's a dating sim. You kind of have to have that. It's pretty much a requirement. I don't know why you wouldn't have that. But one thing that left a sour taste in my mouth was how long some of the fights can go on for. Especially near the end of the game, with some battles being 30 minutes to an hour of just moving and attacking. It really could have been fixed by having the characters, be able to move farther so it wouldn't be as long. Sometimes you're just straight moving for multiple turns and it's just really boring. And probably could have fixed it by making the range larger, as I said, or making the battlefield smaller so there's less space to move around in, so you can actually get to the enemies quicker, because there are enemies that can move, and boy do they move far. This game is long, but I want the length to be meaningful content, not just 30 minutes of walking. The visual novel segments are also really great, as I said. You can point and click at things sometimes. There are also different rooms to find characters in. And you can find characters in certain locations based on their personality. Like Sakura will be at the stage sometimes practicing because she's not really good enough, or she thinks she's not good enough, so she wants to be better. And these moments make you truly feel for the characters, and like I said, every episode's based around a character, so yeah, it just makes it a whole better experience. These moments make the whole game sweeter, honestly. It's like warm and comforting when I play this game. I can't explain why. The art, the characters, the animation, and the music all make this game feel wonderful to play, and it always makes me keep coming back to it. It's just perfect. It reminds me of the feeling I get when I watch old anime. Which is, I guess, the point, because this game is meant to be like an anime. So I guess they succeeded in that. This game is long, but it is truly fulfilling to play and made me actually happy to play it. Because normally I don't get to feel truly happy when reviewing a game because it's just another game for the week. But this game took a while to beat, so I guess I just had a better experience out of it than other games I've played. This game gave me a feeling of calm that I haven't had in a while. It truly reminded me why I made this channel, why I review Sega Saturn games, and why I keep doing so. I feel like you guys can have a similar experience, if not a better experience, just playing casually. It's just a game to chill to, enjoy, and not worry about the stresses of life. And just to play a game and chill, They also made a Dreamcast version that's kind of weird. Some of you might want to check that out instead because more people have a Dreamcast than a Saturn. I don't know how it's different, but I think it should be similar enough to a Saturn version. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and be on the lookout for the Christmas special, releasing on the 25th. Hope to see you all there. And I'm sorry if I sounded weird today. I really am sick, and for half of this I can barely breathe.